Welcome back to the Sunday Business Page.
If you look at a dictionary definition, dyslexia is actually a series of disorders that make it difficult for people to learn or to read or to reinterpret words, letters, or other symbols. If you think about people struggling with dyslexia, if you think they have deficiencies when it comes to intelligence, you're absolutely wrong. Think again about that. Those who overcome the disorder include Albert Einstein, movie director Steven Spielberg, basketball great Magic Johnson, and the actor Henry Winkler. And thanks to a generous grant from former Allegheny County Commissioner and noted attorney Robert Peirce Jr. and his wife Joan, Robert Morris University is creating a special center within its School of Education and Social Science to help teachers work with children who have dyslexia. We welcome Bob Peirce and Carrie Ann Bernadowski, the professor of education at Robert Morris University, to the Sunday Business Page. Carrie is the director of the Bob and Joan Peirce Center that will be structured reading teacher training. Congratulations, and thank you both for being here.
Nice to be here.
Bob, it's personal for you, isn't it? The reason why?
One of our grandsons has been diagnosed as a dyslexic. And
how old? How old was he when they determined
He was in the 4th grade.
Okay.
And we wish it had been in the 1st or 2nd grade. And he's doing fine, but it's a good thing that they caught it when they did.
How did they determine that that was what was going on?
Well, you really need somebody who's trained as the Robert Morris program. You need teachers that know what they're doing, and you need to start in elementary school, 1st and 2nd grade. When kids start to read, they think they're dumb because they have a hard time reading. And of course, the words are all jumbled, and they think they're stupid. So they have low self-esteem until someone explains to them that they're really smart, but they have this issue. And there have been studies that show most of the prisoners in jail have learning disabilities. And if that had been caught when they were 1st, 2nd, or 3rd grade, they might have straightened out and wouldn't have dropped out of school. But
how much of this did you know before it hit your family?
I knew nothing. Like most people watching.
I was going to say, that's the case for most, is it not?
Exactly. And we read about Henry Winkler. He's a good example. He never passed math. They kept passing him in math through high school. He said he never learned math, because math and foreign languages and reading music are things that dyslexic people almost cannot do.
And yet, at the same time, you look at the career that he's gone on to have. And Carrie, very interesting that he has become a children's author. And many of the stories that he writes are about kids who have been bullied. Maybe it's because they didn't read as well, but he uses that personal experience to carry it on. Are you able to do that with your teachers? Are you able to make it real for them to say, use your personal experiences to change the way your students learn?
Absolutely. I think one of the issues that we had is that our graduates were ill-prepared to teach children who were dyslexic. And now with this generous gift, we're able to train them to really understand that this is a language-based problem, that these children are very intelligent, but sometimes the schools are not teaching them correctly.
What do you mean by language-based? What do you mean by that?
Well, students who are dyslexic really struggle with sounds of the English language.
Okay.
Things like connecting letters with sounds, rhyming, you know, spelling and writing. So once teachers understand that there are interventions that will help these children at a young age, like Mr. Peirce said, 1st, 2nd grade, we can get those children reading on grade level once teachers understand how to do that.
How long does it take to get caught up, if you would? I suppose it determines when they decide that that's...
Yeah, and every child is different, so it really depends on the child, on the individual learner, and the intense intervention. You know, we suggest with Orton Gillingham, one of the structured literacy programs that we're using, that it is a one-on-one program. So children who do one-on-one intervention will make strides much faster than a child who's not receiving that.
Interesting. Bob, when you hear her talking about these sorts of educational philosophies and the teaching structure, and knowing that the money that you're going to give is to sort of shape that, what does it do for you and your wife, Joan?
Well, I hope our message is for people watching 2 things. If you want to contribute to a good cause, spend some money to have learning, people come in to check learning disabilities and to teach dyslexic kids and other kids who have learning disabilities. The second message is for every parent in a public school, make sure that all the kids are tested. I mean, you want to find out in the 1st and 2nd grade if your child has a learning disability. It could be dyslexic, it could be something else.
That's right.
The sooner you find out, the sooner that child has a chance of looking at or at least dealing with it.
Got it. Carrie, how do you test for that? How do you go about testing to determine this child is dyslexic?
Well, typically it's really a parent who has an inkling something's not right here in my child's reading. So there's a battery of tests that we can do to determine that. in collaboration with a psychologist. They really make that determination of a learning disability. I train reading specialists, so we can do screenings to see, is there an issue here, and then refer them to a psychologist. Our center will then do the interventions, work with the parents. With the Peirce's generosity, we can help alleviate some of the costs for parents for one-on-one tutoring. But ultimately, we want to train teachers to better serve those children's needs in the schools.
Interesting. Someone once said that if you give a person a fish, they'll eat for a day. You teach them how to fish, they'll eat for a lifetime. Reading's the same way, is it not?
Absolutely.
That if you teach them, literacy is something that is, people are being left behind because they can't.
Right, and then they struggle in other coursework and life. You know, so if we can get these children on grade level, performing as their peers, we're giving them a gift.
Interesting. Bob, you've always been a big reader. Has that been something that's important to you? I mean, I know in your career there's a tremendous amount of things that you have to read, but do you read because you want to?
I've always been a reader. I've been a reader ever since I was a kid, and that's why it's so important. If you have some extra money, give it to Robert Morris. The more money they have, the more teachers they can train. It'll be a good place to put some extra money for.
Why was it RMU? What was it about the program there that you said this is where we want our money to go?
Because they were easy to talk to. Robert Morris does not have the type of bureaucracy that Pitt and the larger universities have. It's hard to get a hold of Pitt to do anything because of the bureaucracy. Pitt should be doing this. Duquesne should be doing this. All the universities should be doing it. And we live in the Swickley area. Robert Morris is in Moon Township, close to us. They're involved in the Laughlin Center where we first started the program. So they were a natural fit. But there's no reason the other universities cannot do the same thing that Robert Morris is doing.
Should follow suit with what's going on there.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you for your generosity.
Good to see you.
Carrie, thank you very much for your perspective as to what's going on, and best of luck as you continue to change those children's lives. We appreciate the perspective this morning.